What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the TheDomCast episode. You already know what time it is. Oh man, even when life is normal, I do not know what episode we are on, even though I used to do this weekly. And right now, life is anything but normal. Or maybe this is just called the new normal. Who really knows in 2020? We might be in this state for quite some time. But yeah, the podcast is back, presumably 2 times a week. I haven't exactly figured out the math on that yet, considering that I run 2 other channels and I stream now. And supposedly, I'm going to be doing a podcast twice a week. But hey, at least the climate supports it, right? The NBA is back until October, allegedly. They came down to join the Florida men. They are actually, the NBA's, this whole bubble thing they're doing is literally like 30 minutes, 45, not even 45. What am I talking about? 20 to 30 minutes away from me. So they are all here, and here is not necessarily safe, but they should be safe because they have money. Let's just call it what it is. They said the NBA, what are they charging? Like, they said this Disney bubble is costing them like 1.5 million per day. Yeah, they are dropping the whole bag to get this done, but with good reason. And of course, we're going to be talking about all of that because so many NBA developments have happened, so many signings have happened since the last time I podcasted. I suppose I should start with what we'll be talking about today. I have why there's been no podcast, which is just going to be this little beginning part. We'll be talking about some of The Last of Us, the NBA bubble, of course, life and Corona, next gen and NBA 2K21, all types of stuff. I just jotted down some of the most urgent things that I wanted to talk about, and if it did not come up when I was writing the notes down, then I will get to a next podcast, because I didn't want to write everything down now and, you know, not have anything to talk about in like what did it say, Saturday? So I don't know, sometime within the next week when I drop the second one, you get what I'm trying to say. So we will start off talking about the podcast. Obviously, as you've noticed here, I've been going on for about 2 minutes. There is no Rod, there is no Eric, and it'll at least be no Rod for who? God. Me and Eric, we actually tried to record a podcast last month, and we were laughing about that. Like, we have no clue when we're gonna see Rod again. Yeah, he's look, everybody's making their own decisions right now, right? With coronavirus, and Florida is not safe, and he lives with people that are probably at risk, and so it's some people are being super cautious, some people are not being cautious enough, but everybody's just got to make that decision. So we will probably not have Rod on a pod until it's indefinite, fam. Out indefinitely. Andre Roberson type beat. Speaking of Andre Roberson, he actually has been practicing with the Thunder. That is something else we'll be talking about in the bubble, or in the bubble section. And then as far as Eric, you know, just who knows? We'll see. I see him from time to time, but again, we will just see, because every time you get together with people, it's just a fact of life right now that you're taking some level of risk. I have a brother not back home, he's here. I have a brother here that does have underlying conditions with asthma and whatnot, so you just got to make your own decisions. And the NBA season, I would love to have Eon during the bubble, and because I would love to be talking about all the games that are going to be happening. They're going to be playing like all damn day, plenty of content there, but look, fam, indefinite. Again, I don't know. For right now, this is a solo thing. I'm riding solo, Jason Derulo type beat. Apparently Jason Derulo is getting a damn bag to do those TikToks, by the way, those super VFX and movie TikToks he's doing. That's crazy, man. But anyways, yeah, so aside from not having hosts and whatnot, look, man, nobody was prepared for COVID to do what it did. Like, if I have not done a podcast probably since like April, look, the podcast wasn't the only thing that just didn't really have a good plan for such an abrupt stop. My Discord didn't either, if you didn't know, because I barely advertised that I have a Discord server, but we had a pretty healthy Discord going on during the season, and it was just, you know, it was just designed for some basketball talk, and we were having fun because obviously the NBA had parity and there was plenty to be curious about, and then boom, NBA season stops and the Discord is basically dead, because that's what it was used for. And had we have actually had time to plan, you know, free agency coming up, draft, summer league, and all that stuff, if you're on a normal time schedule, then you can kind of plan and ease into other things. But yeah, the Discord and the podcast pretty much suffered greatly from those. The podcast is heavily NBA based, and I'm just gonna go by from what I see and the questions that I get. Largely, it doesn't seem like anybody listens to this podcast for anything other than the NBA. Like, I put a questionnaire out, and I get this is why I didn't even put a questionnaire out for this podcast. I get the same damn questions every time. Is LeBron the GOAT? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win this year? Who's MVP? Same exact questions every single time. Yeah, so I'm gonna go as long as I can without questionnaires, to be honest, because I'm tired of discussing if LeBron is the GOAT. I'm tired of discussing if Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer of all time. I see that on Twitter every single week. I was just tweeting about that yesterday. Like these big basketball pages. Is Kevin Durant the greatest of all time scorer? Let me know your thought. We talk about this every week, but you can't blame anybody right now, right? Again, that's NBA Twitter talk was also not prepared for COVID. But yeah, if you're wondering what happened to the podcast, fam, that's what happened to the podcast. We were knee deep in NBA talk. We actually had gotten to a pretty good size throughout the season. We had increased in listeners massively, and without that, it just wasn't it was not the same. But anyways, like, I'm in a different space now, totally, in content creation. I'm actually more of a streamer these days, and so on YouTube I just do whatever the fuck I want, to be honest with you. I'm tired of trying to figure out algorithms and audience retention and all this shit, bro. Look, if people want to watch Dom 2K and listen to Dom 2K, they'll listen to Dom 2K. And if they don't want to, they won't. I don't fucking care, bro. I don't care. I'm now, what are we at? This is July. Today is July 11th at the time of this recording. And this makes 4 years. I guess I should have had this written down. Yeah, this makes 4 years since I started Dom 2K channel, the Dom 2K channel. I had a channel before that, which is now my second channel. I made that channel at the end of 2013. And then I stopped for a while in the summer of, as soon as 2016 started, I stopped for a bit, and then I started Dom 2K that summer, and it kind of caught right on. I guess I came at the right time when NBA YouTube was really, the seeds had just been planted, and so I was able to definitely ride some of that wave. Got some nice looks from some big Facebook pages. I've been doing this for 4 years now, and after 4 years of trying to figure out, slumps, and when one video you make does great, and then you make the same type of video, the very next video will be the same type, and it's like the half the level that the other one performed at, fam. I'm so tired of trying to figure out formulas and all this shit. I am just doing what I want these days. So long story short, podcast is going to be what it is. If the NBA shuts down, the podcast will keep going, because I'm just going to talk about what the fuck I want, bro. People are going to listen to they are. YouTube is not worth the stress sometimes. It's really not. That's why you see me streaming a lot these days. I'm damn near like a half YouTuber, half streamer these days. Is that something to discuss? Yeah, that's probably something to discuss a little bit later in the podcast. But yeah, that's where the podcast has been. Did not help that the NBA just crashed and burned, but it is back, and so that'll definitely help with the 2 times a week thing, because like I said, the NBA, they're saying, that's one thing we hadn't even thought about, right? With the NBA, let's just go ahead and move on to that section, by the way, because I keep on coming back to that. NBA will always come first, by the way, in these podcasts that I do, because I still am an NBA YouTuber, 2K streamer first. So in these podcasts, I'll always do the NBA stuff first. It'll always be marked, and whoever wants to hang around and listen to whatever else the fuck I want to ramble about, they'll do that. And yeah, it's in the time markers as well. So with this NBA bubble, I hadn't even considered until we've gotten closer to these games that there's going to be games pretty much the whole day, and thank God we don't have to sit and wait for these West Coast games anymore, because LeBron plays on the West Coast, a lot of interesting players and teams play on the West Coast. Well, now everybody's here. Now everybody in the NBA, all of them are temporarily Florida men. They are here again, 30 minutes away, and so they are on my time, and that's going to be interesting to mix with YouTube videos and streaming and podcasts, because the games are going to be on until people start getting eliminated. There's going to be hella games, but I'm so happy that we don't have to sit up until like 1 or 2 in the morning watching Damian Lillard, because that's where I'm going with this, right? I don't know, leave in the comment section, like, what are some moments in NBA history that you missed out on and that you really wish that you hadn't? Because I have a couple of those where I was watching the game and I felt safe enough to fall asleep because my eyelids were getting heavy. It was late at night, and that's happened on some really crazy moments, man. Let me think. Yeah, starting with Damian Lillard. I fell asleep on Damian Lillard's game winner against the Rockets back in 2014, and I also fell asleep on his game winner last year against the I was about to say Clippers because Paul George, no, the Thunder. Yeah, I fell asleep on both of those. God, when I woke up and I saw that game winner, I'm still mad about that, bro. I'm still mad about that. I hold grudges against this NBA shit, man. I'm still mad about Game 7 of 2010 with the Lakers and Celtics. I am still mad that I was not up to see Damian Lillard in Paul George and Westbrook. That, man. But anyways, we won't have that problem now. We won't have that problem. Even if we have to stay up a little bit later, it won't be anything that I'm not used to. So that's pretty awesome. And right now everything is just fluid because, well, thankfully the players actually got here, right? One thing I don't agree with Shaquille O'Neal a lot, because I feel like he says crazy shit sometimes, and a lot of his opinion seems to have his ego tied into it. But sometimes I do agree with him, and one thing that he goes by is he doesn't believe anything until he sees it. He's I think he said he was spiritual with it or whatever, and he's like, yeah, it has to happen for me to believe it. And being that I'm down here in Central Florida and in Florida, where I'm watching people's blatant disregard for this virus, and I'm watching the cases spiral out of control, and watching leadership not do a damn thing, I was really worried. I was like, damn, back in June, back like the end of June, our cases start spiking. I'm like, we still have a month until the first NBA game gets played, because the NBA games don't actually start. The recorded games don't start until July 30th. Luckily, we have scrimmages in 11 days, and none of the players had traveled here yet. I was seeing players that were testing positive before they even traveled here, so that happened. A couple of teams, who were the teams that had to close their centers? I believe the Kings did. I believe maybe the Nuggets. Don't quote me on that. But a couple of teams had to close their center because people that were their practice facilities, because some of the people that were traveling to the Orlando bubble, they tested positive, obviously, and so now they have to close that down so you don't risk spreading to anybody who's actually coming. And I was just like, oh god. After they've got our hopes up with all this, that I was just hoping that we could just hang on long enough to get them down here and get everything going. And being that there's 11 days until the first game, and yesterday we started getting our first pictures of players practicing inside the bubble, it looks like it's pretty much like I said. I don't remember where I said it, but being that the NBA is a business and businesses revolve around money, I was always saying that anything short of a meteor, whether I'm using that right or wrong, anything short of a goddamn asteroid hitting this planet is not going to stop this season from coming back. That's the way I felt. I was like, if the NBA has to roll out, what are the generics called? John Smith, David Miller, if they have to roll out generics to get this season done, they will. And with good reason. As I was mentioning at the beginning of the pod, one thing I did not realize, because we did a lot of talking back in the last episodes of this podcast back in March, maybe. And I was saying, I was a little bit iffy about the season coming back, and maybe they should just plan for the 2021 season. Of course, we had very little information back then. We're in July, and things have gotten worse. I don't really think that I thought that's how things were going to go back then when I was talking. For some reason, I thought by the end of 2020, at that point, we would be able to just have a regular season. Well, now we know that we won't. And also the big problem is NBA saying, hey, if we don't finish this season, money gets really screwed up. We might not have next season either. You get into CBA negotiations. Ooh, gosh, that's a big fucking no-no, man. That's a big fucking no-no. We will be sitting here without basketball until the end of 2021, maybe, right? And yeah, nobody wants that. Nobody wants all that time off for our stars. That would destroy so many careers. That just creates so many problems, right? So if at all avoidable, it seems like that's the philosophy the NBA is using. And so the players are here. It seems like most players are healthy. Top players seem like they are healthy. Oh, maybe I should have looked this up. I saw somebody tweet at midnight last night about the Rockets and about James Harden and Westbrook, but I haven't seen any other follow-up news, so I don't think they're in any danger right now. But anyways, yeah, so games are gonna start. I was actually having this thought in the car today. I was out this morning and I was thinking, at the current schedule, the season will start at the end of July. The latest that it will end would be in October, and the season's gonna start right back in December, because as far as the NBA is concerned and as far as everybody's concerned, they've had their off season. They haven't played a game since it's been exactly, as a matter of fact, I think today makes 4 months, right? Yeah, they closed right around that time, so they closed right around 4 months ago, and yeah, so that's basically an off season. And so they're going to get 1 month off. You're going to hop right back into December. Now, I'm wondering how that's going to go. Is this whole thing with NBA and Disney, is this like an indefinite partnership, or is this for the foreseeable future? Because it's kind of weird that there will still be a need for a bubble in October, which I think at this point, with the way things are going, we can clearly see there will be. And then in December, you justify everyone just going back to their own arenas, and you justify NBA player travel all across the country again. I can't really see that happening. And so nobody's even talking about it yet, because we haven't even seen how this bubble is going to work. But is the entire next season also going to take place in a bubble? That's just a thought I had, but it's probably way too early to be discussing that. As far as how the bubble is going to go, look, I hate this question as much as I hate getting I hate this question as much as I hate getting the same questions in my DMs every time I do a pod. Everyone's asking, Dom, who you think is going to win? Who's going to win this year? Predictions for the bubble? Fam, I don't have predictions. I don't have anything. I have nothing. The information for this season that I have is based off of what we were doing in a regular world, right? So when we were in March, everything, the Battle of LA, you had crowds that were a significant factor, home court advantage, players in a certain shape. Everything was constant like it is in a normal season. Now, who the fuck knows, bro? Some players aren't even here. Some players have opted not to be here for different reasons. Avery Bradley did not come to the bubble because his son has a respiratory issue or underlying issue. And so he would not be able to join him. He would not be able to join Avery Bradley later when they allow families to come to the bubble. That wouldn't be a thing because they'd be putting him at too much risk. And so Avery Bradley's not there. Now, given that that's not a make or break for LA, but I'm just using that as an example. Certain teams have had things change. We don't know what's going to change. We don't know, as much as they're going to try to control this, we don't know if somebody's going to get sick during the bubble. We don't know how this 4 months has affected certain teams. Their chemistry, what shape certain players are in. We don't know the shape that any of the players are going to be in actually when they actually start playing NBA games at game speed. We don't know anything. We don't know how the lack of home court advantage in the playoffs. We don't know anything. And so all I can tell you is, well, when we came into this, there were 3 teams that had like super finals expectations. You had the Lakers, you had the Bucks, the Clippers. Those are the teams, like, if any 3 of them in the finals, you're not surprised at all. You expect one of those 3 to be in the finals, and that was under normal conditions. So coming back, I'm still like, yeah, if you're just telling me to choose based off of the teams that we have, I have not moved off the Clippers. But again, I don't have a great idea of how any of this is going to go, and nobody does. So I'm not going to give you like an official prediction here, or like last year, obviously. Well, I forgot, I've been an NBA YouTuber like all through the Warriors dynasty, so I could always confidently tell you without injuries the Warriors were going to win. But in other years, I would confidently say, oh, this team is going to win, and I could tell you reasons why. Like, look, Austin Rivers, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they're both on record right now saying they believe this is going to be the hardest championship because of the circumstances. Taylor Rooks was saying that she believes that this title is definitely going to have an asterisk, but not in a bad way. She was saying that it was going to have an asterisk next to it based off the fact that this is just so different. There's so many unknown factors and so many variables that we've never had to deal with before. And so I guess 2 things can be true, right? You can have an asterisk, but because of the way things have gone down, and not because, oh, this isn't a real title. And so it's literally just it's a different title, man. It's a different title, and I can see those players' perspective. I can see Giannis's perspective of, dog, we're in a bubble, we don't have a crowd, we're here, we can't leave, we can't leave, we don't have our family. There's so many different just little things that go into the mental part of basketball, the physical part, so many different things that you cannot account for. So long story short, I don't have a fucking clue, bro. I don't have a fucking clue. Now, I'll tell you what I hope. I hope that this year we don't end up with some random finals, like, and okay, I still don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I still believe in LeBron and AD and Kawhi and PG. I still believe those teams that have that inherent star advantage are gonna be the ones you expect to flow towards the top. But I hope we don't end up with something that would have otherwise been seen as like a super dark horse finals back in March. So for instance, if we were to, I don't know, end up with the Miami, let's just say like the Miami Heat and the Rockets, right? Okay, that wouldn't have been impossible to see before the season went on break, but it also wasn't expected. We didn't expect Miami to get past a team like the Bucks or whoever else they were going to be playing, right? Some of the other better teams. There was no expectation of James Harden and Westbrook to be able to beat the Clippers or to beat the Lakers, but I really do feel like if you end up with some, I guess I could have gotten more dark horse than that. Maybe I should have used the Jazz as an example, because I mean, technically the Rockets and Heat, it could happen. That's just, but we'd be surprised. We'd be a little wide-eyed, right? That's what I'm trying to say. I just want to see a finals this year where it's like we're wide-eyed at it, because then I think that'll start giving people the real ammo to be like, yeah, what kind of championship is this, bro? Like, how did we end up here with how did we end up with a Ben Simmons and a Donovan Mitchell finals this early? How did this already happen when this whole thing has been about LeBron and AD and Giannis basically, right? I know Journey of a Ballaholic is, I believe in his prediction, he was actually talking about why he believes Toronto was going to make it. He, by the way, yeah, I gave him a shout out in my the video I was shouting out smaller NBA YouTubers, and he had some really good cases, which again I think are absent of the factors that we can't predict, which is why I'm saying, yeah, hell, maybe we will end up with a Pascal Siakam Finals MVP, right? Who knows, man? Who knows? But I guess that's a bit of the exciting part as well, to see how this all turns out. Like, for instance, the players now that we know we are in this bubble and the Disney thing has actually come to fruition, the chatter, what are we gonna hear on the court? I know the NBA was talking about possibly delaying the games a little bit so that they could censor stuff. Don't do that, bro. Don't, Adam, bro. In 2020, I promise you, LeBron James yelling fuck when J.R. Smith misses or he does something wild, I promise you that's not going to ruin my day. I promise you that's not the worst thing we've heard this year, okay? It's not the most tragic thing that's happened in 2020. It would not be the most tragic thing that's happened in 2020. Let us hear what goes on the court, man. Because most of it, yeah, there's probably going to be, you know, but I don't know how much shit talk there's going to be. The players know that they're on camera too, right? So I wonder if they're going to censor themselves a little bit. But when you're in the heat of a game, you know, maybe, and especially at certain points in the game, maybe you really can't. Look, bottom line, let us just hear what they're saying, bro. Let's hear some of it, because I've always wondered about that. When you have loved to hear, to have heard what LeBron James said to Curry back in 2016 when he blocked him, yeah, just let us hear, man. Just let us hear. It's not going to ruin anybody's day. But of course, they're worried about branding and marketing and advertisement and all that. So we'll see how that ends up going. But again, with 11 days until just the first scrimmage, and I'm pretty sure we're actually going to be able to see some of these. I don't know if there's a plan in place for them to even do that. But yeah, you know, everyone's just doing the best they can right now, and the bubble signifies that. You know, for the NBA, the bubble signifies that. For my college that I graduated from, I just got their whole list of their plan to start school, and I read over it, and I'm just kind of like raising my eyebrow at it, because everyone right now is just kind of like has their hands in the air like, shit, man, what you want me to do? Like, this is what we're doing, this is what we're gonna try. Everyone right now is in this is what we're gonna try moment. Nobody actually knows what the world will look like in the next 3 months, or if this bubble is actually even gonna finish. Charles Barkley said that he doesn't expect it to finish. He doesn't think they can hang on for 3 months, and that interests me because, again, since I'm so close, I know some of these places that the NBA players are staying. Like, one of the names of the hotels that they released, or the resorts that they released, was the Grand Floridian. Well, my mom, that's a place that she shops at sometimes. They have like a gift shop in there. And my mom was just telling me, like, right now she can still online make a reservation to Grand Floridian to go to the cafe or go to certain places in there. I'm like, okay, they said NBA bubble environment, right? So I thought that meant like the players were going to be totally isolated. You wouldn't be able to get nowhere near them. No, maybe that, yeah, again, I've been there. It is really big, so maybe you can't get anywhere near where the NBA players actually are. And I guess, you know, at a certain portion of the place is where the bubble starts, I guess. But that already kind of got me looking like, okay, like, I thought they got to contain this as much as they can, because this is hundreds of people, right? This is hundreds of people they got to contain. They're constantly testing. Like, PJ Tucker is already complaining about that damn swab touching the back of his brain. he said something like that, because they have to test religiously, apparently. Well, obviously, yeah, just in case anybody came to the bubble and was not sick yet, and then it turns out they had it, and then they have it in like a week, and then it fucks this whole thing up, right? So you have to test as much as you can. But hey, look, overall, I pray for good health. Not sure if that's actually going to do anything, but I pray good health on this league. We could all use some sports right now. Especially going to August and September. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you know one thing about me, you know how much I hate those months. Even though my birthday, I'm gonna talk about self-hate. Like, my birthday is in August, and I hate August. but it's August. It's on August 30th, so it's at the very end. But whatever. Yeah, no, the months, in a traditional year, they're very dry to me. Like, nothing is happening. Normally the NBA is at like the dead heat of summer, and there's nothing going on, there's nothing to talk about, and there's no news, there's no footage or anything. And that's how August and September are. There's no holidays, people are going back to school. And so I had the scariest thought. I was like, bro, August and September this year. And then I had to remember, like, oh wait, there's gonna be NBA games. And so for that reason, selfishly, yeah, I hope that, well, it's not even selfish though. If it stays, that means it worked and everyone was healthy. So yeah, I hope everyone maintains health, and I hope that we can actually see this thing through, and you know, strategize for next year, because the reality is that this is still not going away anytime soon. if you were to talk about like a vaccine coming in December, which that's the earliest I've heard, that maybe they would be a vaccine out in like at the end of this year. If that were to happen, you still got a number of people in the country that aren't going to immediately jump on it or take it, and then you have to worry about how effective the vaccine actually is. And so when you mix those, even with the vaccine, there's no assurance of herd immunity, right? And so we just don't know when anything is going back to normal. Same thing my school pamphlet said, or my old school alma mater, same thing they said. They were like, yeah, this is just what we're doing until things are back to normal, I guess, if there is a back to normal. And so I would be interested as this goes on to see what the NBA will be doing for the 2021 season. As far as some specifics for this season, shout out to Jamal Crawford being signed by the Brooklyn Nets. There is a handful of players on Twitter that, you know, run campaigns for themselves, and no shade at all. I mean, you know, get the bag, right? But there's been players, Nick Young, Isaiah Thomas, Jamal Crawford. I think that's pretty much the trio that basically always, they don't keep it a secret how much they want to play, and they love hoop, especially Jamal Crawford, man, just loves hoop, right? And so he's been lobbying to be signed for quite some time. There's always the crowd out there that says, well, he's a bit older now, he can't play defense, and what is he really, is he really actually going to help your team? You know, is he going to be like an efficient scorer? But the man got signed. I'm happy he gets to do what he loves. He's on the Brooklyn Nets nonetheless. Don't know how much he's actually going to be played, but, you know, he's there. So was Michael Beasley, but yeah, that's right. I think Crawford and Michael Beasley on the Nets, they said that was the Nets COVID version of, or the COVID season version of Kyrie and Kevin Durant. So the ball handling and then the supposed to be automatic score. Yeah, don't forget, Michael Beasley was a bucket. Hashtag Bleacher Report. So yeah, shout out to him. J.R. Smith, obviously, I was talking about that in a little excerpt earlier about LeBron possibly cursing on live TV. He is a Los Angeles Laker to make up for Avery Bradley. Man, that was just the funniest thing, right? Because life sometimes, with these sports things, life seems like it works out like a movie. So I just have it in my head where, because you know the NBA is really good with how they sell things and how they advertise things and the short films they make and whatnot, especially during the finals. So I'm just imagining like the Phantom Cam version of J.R. Smith running away from the goal back in 2018 when he thought that they had the lead or whatever, and then them juxtaposing that with a very important three that he hits in this year's playoffs or this year's finals. I'm telling you, man, it really seems like it's already mapped out, and the groundwork is there for that. So J.R. Smith is signed, and then yeah, Isaiah Thomas is not signed, and neither is Nick Young yet. So. And at this point, hell, I don't know if they will be. It certainly is not likely. Shout out, I just saw this one today, tweeted by Royce Young. Shout out to Andre Roberson, who I swear I didn't think we were going to see him play basketball anytime soon. Andre Roberson has been hurt since early 2018. We have not seen this man play basketball in a very long time. With everything that happened and the NBA shutting down the way it did, I just assumed bro, we might not ever see this guy again. Lo and behold, he's practicing. But that's all the information we got. That's the only information we got, is that he practiced and he did everything. I don't know if he's actually going to play. And especially, God, he's been away from basketball so long, and now we're in this new situation and we're so close to playoff basketball. I wonder if the Thunder are going to use him at all. It'd be very interesting. I don't have any expectations with all this time off and the type of injury he had. That's one thing where I can solidly say, man, I don't expect him to come back and be the defensive stopper he once was. But imagine that. Imagine if the Thunder were able to add him and his defense to what they already have. That'd be pretty cool. But no concrete information there other than that he is still living, so that's good. The Clippers, let me Google this one right now, because Landry Shamet is not coming, is he? They said last time I saw, I'm gonna go ahead and click on the news article here. Okay, now it says 3 days ago, don't rule Landry Shamet out for the season. But 6 days ago, yes, he obviously did test positive for corona. So okay, yeah, we don't actually know with him, because it seems like some players are still trying to recover in time to be able to play. But yeah, it just says don't rule him out. I think that would be kind of important. He is a shooter for the Clippers. That wouldn't be great if he couldn't play for them. And I haven't heard anything about them actually signing someone in his place yet, so a bit of interesting news there. On top of the unfortunate news that Jokic did have the coronavirus, we still think he's going to be able to play because it's at the end of July. That's the one thing I'm wondering about now, right? Again, this disease, it affects everybody so differently. Some people get it and don't feel a damn thing and don't even know they have it, and it passes and it goes. Some people get it and it's hard for them to just sit down and breathe, and then they have, and I saw one person say that their husband was sick for like 6 weeks or whatever, and so I'm wondering, like, Jokic starts playing at the end of July, is he gonna feel anything from this? Is this gonna affect his performance? Those are the type of, it's again, we just don't know enough information, but for the things that we do know, we know he's lost a lot of weight. I'm really interested to see how that translates for him on the court. As a matter of fact, it's funny, when this all first went down, I was always wondering, who is this break going to affect the worst? Because I remember Jokic came into the season and he wasn't in the best shape, so honestly I was like, damn, when we come back, that's gonna kill all the progress he made during the season, right? Because he ended up having a really good season, and so now he's lost all the weight, and he was already with the weight and without even being in great shape, he was dope. So really, I would be keeping a really close eye on the Nuggets. And I'll also be keeping an extreme eye on the award races, because I wonder, we're all human, right? The season has been gone for 4 months. Low key, it feels like we're coming back to not a full reset, but it feels like momentum can shift a lot easier than it could when the season was going on. In other words, y'all remember where I was. I was full on Giannis as MVP back in March. People were trying to take it from him because he lost to the Lakers, or the Bucks lost to the Lakers one time, and then people were all over it. Oh, LeBron's MVP now. Well, actually, you know what? The Lakers won both those games, didn't they? Did they win that one with Milwaukee? I can't even remember. See what I'm talking about? Little details like that. And so that's my point, is I wonder, coming back into this, does what happens in the bubble, because that's all people are going to see. This is going to be the most recent thing we've seen. Going to be trying to remember what happened in the season, but you know, the NBA is a what have you done for me lately league. So especially with not knowing which players are going to respond the best or worst to this whole thing, I wonder how that affects award races. Specifically, you already see that this whole thing going on with Zaw and Ja, did I say Zaw and Ja? Yo, I do that so much. I did a Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell sim back in March on NBA 2K20. I was streaming that, and I routinely would say Built and Will. I would do that all the time. I always cross their names, so I just did that with Zaw and Zion, is what I was just about to say. No, Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. That was a conversation people were trying to have, even though it should have been clear as day. Ja was the Rookie of the Year. He still has my vote, but again, we come back to this bubble. What happens if the Grizzlies, which we know that I think the majority of people want, they want the Pelicans in the A seed, so we can get that LeBron versus Pelicans thing going, and Zion versus LeBron, because let's just be real, Zion is the more, he's, as a matter of fact, that might be the transition here, because I'm damn near done talking about the bubble. I already told y'all, don't come to me for answers with this shit, with this prediction stuff, because I want to see how all these different factors play in. So stop asking me what's gonna happen. Fam, I'm not Baba, okay? Baba from DBZ. I don't have the crystal ball. I don't know, but this actually, I might transition right here, because I was going to be talking about next gen and NBA 2K21, and we know that Zion is on the cover, and the NBA, I think they would probably like if Zion and LeBron played in the first round. I personally believe most people would rather see Zion and LeBron play than the Grizzlies and Lakers. I really think that's it, and it's because this is what everybody's problem was, right? This is what everybody's problem was. Zion Williamson played, 19 games, I believe, before the season cut down. Of course, he was out with the knee surgery pretty much the big chunk of the season. He came back right at the end and was very exciting to watch play. His very first game, y'all remember, against fam, who were they playing when he made all those 3-pointers? See, this stuff feels like it happened eons ago. Anyways, yeah, those few minutes they put him in, and he was like dragging whoever they were playing, and then of course they had to take him out. That was super exciting. Every time he dunks, like, all eyes on Zion all the time. He's that hyped prospect like LeBron was when he came in, and because of that, he's already the cover athlete and the guy that they're selling on 2K. And they were pissed about that, bro. People were like throwing a goddamn fit. They were like, oh, what about Luka? If you're talking about a young prospect, what about Luka? What about Ja? You know, they were talking about all these other people. And look, I'm not saying nobody had a valid argument or that there weren't valid arguments, because one thing I didn't notice until after we were having that conversation is that LeBron James' first 2K cover was not until NBA 2K, oh my gosh, 2K14, yeah. Imagine that. James been in the NBA since he was drafted in 2003, has pretty much been amazing ever since then, had his first finals appearance in 07, won MVP in 09 and 10, did not grace a 2K cover until NBA 2K14 after he'd won a championship. That's crazy. That it feels like he was really put through the ringer and he had to earn that, right? Yeah, Zion has been here and he's had some nice dunks and he's somehow inserted him, well, not somehow, we knew he would be there, but he somehow has people having real conversations about who the rookie of the year is, even though I think it would only be fair if it was Ja. But all that really off of the hype and excitement. And so with him being the athlete that 2K is really branding for their, he's on the next gen cover. Yeah, he's on the next gen. Damian Lillard is on current gen. And then of course Kobe is on the Legends edition. Look, I just wasn't surprised, right? Everyone, I think that's it. I guess people had their right to, you know, put out their counterpoints and this and that, but I was just like, but there's no surprise here though. I don't get why everyone was just shocked like it was the most surprising thing in the world, because the counterpoint to that LeBron James cover argument is that 2K is just it's different than it once was, right? So all those years that LeBron wasn't on the cover, from that would have been 2K4, which I believe was ESPN basketball. That would have been 2K4 to 2K13, and all those years he wasn't on the cover. 2K, you gotta remember, they really started to like take over the game around like that 7 or 8 mark, I would say. Whereas Zion is coming to a league where 2K is the dominant game, not competing with anybody now. They have what do you call that? They have a, damn, why am I going blank right now? I'm gonna be mad as hell until I remember this word. Wow, I am really, bro, it's been a long year. Bro, they have the market, right? They control this entire market. NBA Live doesn't exist anymore. That NBA The Life game that I used to play when I was younger doesn't exist anymore. So it's totally different. Back all those other years, LeBron, as a matter of fact, was on the cover. Somebody reminded me on the Life. That's what it was called, right? The NBA 09, I believe. I think that's he was on one of those covers, whether it was 08 or 09. So 2K14 was not his first case overall, but it was his first 2K case, and I think that's kind of how people judge it. It's kind of like the NBA championship versus like a championship in EuroLeague and all that. People judge the NBA championship. That's what 2K is. 2K is the NBA world champion, and so Zion got on the NBA world champion. But again, just a much bigger game now. It's much different. It's not like it was when it was competing. It's not a smaller game. It's not like neck and neck with Live anymore. It's just the dominant thing. Has so much hype around it. People create so much content for it. You got YouTubers with logos in the park. You got shout out to Ticino, is that how you say his name? Forgive me if I pronounced it wrong, I really don't know. Ticino and Flight carrying last night with on Twitch. They had like 60k viewers or some shit like that, almost more than Fortnite, almost more than Minecraft. 2K is a way different game than it was back when LeBron was trying to get on the cover, is what I'm trying to say, or all those years that I guess you would say he snubbed. And so I guess you just match hype with hype. Zion is the most hype prospect, whether you're looking at Luka and saying, well, damn, he was kind of an MVP candidate this year, or you're looking at Ja saying he was, man, almost ended a couple of careers with dunks this year. But there's no denying that Zion is he's the most exciting prospect though. That's the showstopper, right? That's what everybody wants to see. That shit, we know it, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Let me stop. Yeah, no, that I just wasn't surprised. I just was not surprised at all. And that brings us to 2K21 discussion, because I'm pretty much done talking about the bubble until we have more information, until we have more games. If you were not looking, well, if you weren't looking, you haven't missed much but some cover reveals and a cinematic trailer. We don't have a ton of 2K information yet, but based on the past and past generational releases, when you have a year like we're about to have where we're going to get 2 releases of 2K, it seems like some things are different actually. It seems like some things are different. Let me actually pull up the NBA 2K21 sheet if I can, because when you pre-order, it's a lot different this year. So when NBA 2K14 came out for the PS3 and then it came out for the PS4, you had to buy 2 separate editions. They did not have like an upgrade thing going on. And so Of course, I wasn't not a YouTuber yet, but I was I guess you call it an Instagrammer. I had a page I used to use called NBA 2K Highlights. I still use it from time to time, but much less. It's pretty much dead. But back then I was using it for content, and so of course 2K14 was damn near a business expense for me at the time. So buy it on PS3. 2 months later, spend another $60, buy it on 2K14. But it's looking like now, if you pre-order certain versions of the game, you're going to also get it on PS5, certain versions. And it also depends on which case you get as well. Let me look up exact information so yeah, I can, this is actually pretty interesting. Okay, yeah, so here it is. So if you buy the Mamba Forever edition, which of course is a special edition on the PlayStation 4, you're automatically going to get the standard edition on PS5. So basically, if you get the Mamba Forever edition on whatever console you have right now, on the same console family, you'll get upgraded. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I'm glad that 2K was at least not being greedy as it pertains to this, because I saw this happening with a few other games. What other games were they doing this with? There's a couple of games I think maybe Cyberpunk is doing something like this, although they said just take advantage of the PS5's upgraded hardware. They didn't actually say PS5 version. Don't quote me on any of this. I just know I saw it for other games, so I'm glad that 2K will be upgrading. And it's funny, this is really enticing you. It's interesting. Like I do kind of wish, as nitpicking, that if you were getting Mamba Forever on the PlayStation 4, that you would also get it on the PS5. I get from a business standpoint why they're not doing it, but for someone like me, I just want the standard edition on PS4, and I want the Legend on PS5. Reason being, especially as a content creator, 2K21 on current gen is only going to last me 2 months. I'm going to be making content with it maybe from September 4th to probably mid-November when the new one comes out. I'm never going to touch it again. Pretty much like Chris Move did back in the day when he had that My Career going on for NBA 2K14 on the PlayStation 3, and then it was like the season that never finished. He still has that video up, and yeah, that's what'll happen here, and it's going to be quite interesting. So first of all, just talking about the things that we know with graphics and whatnot, we have not seen any official NBA 2K21 gameplay. All we've seen was Zion Williamson and what looks like a cinematic, it looks like a cinematic scene, although I believe it says like pre-alpha footage on the bottom right-hand corner or something along those lines. Anyways, it's not important. It's not important to, you know, quote me on that. What I would tell you is 2K, first of all, I've always raved about the job that they do on graphics and the change and the massive upgrade that you get from a console jump. They're one of the games that take full advantage on that first title. Also, with the trailers that they release, you can probably bet, and hopefully they don't make me look like a fool now because it's always been this way, you can probably bet that whatever they end up showing on these trailers is really what the game is going to look like. Because if you think back to the LeBron James reveals back in NBA 2K14, that is really what the game ended up looking like, if my memory is serving me correctly. When they were showing him sitting there talking, LeBron was talking to himself, the human version, and then the render, or his video game model that they had in that commercial. 2K14 came out looking gorgeous like that. It's still to this day one of the best looking games, one of the best looking 2Ks on PS4 and Xbox One. And so, is 2K21 going to look like what we've seen with Zion in that little scene? It's hard to imagine. That didn't really look like video gameplay to me, but it's going to look amazing, bro. It is going to look amazing. And if you haven't seen the virtual basketball simulation, I entice you to look that up on YouTube, because it was basically a demo of, with next-gen hardware, what physics and movement might look like. And I promise you, when I pulled this video up on Twitter, for the first 10 to 20 seconds, I thought I was just watching, because I didn't read exactly what it was. I just saw some basketball, and I was like, oh, where in the world are they playing basketball right now? I thought it was one of those fanless games going on in another country. And it took me a good 20 seconds to realize I was looking at a video game, or I was looking at a simulation. It was built on some engine, right? I didn't know that it wasn't I had to look at the net. Once you saw the ball go through the net, that kind of gave it away. But the way the players were actually moving, my goodness, bro. The pacing, the movement, the dribbling. I tweeted out immediately. I was like, cheesers would fucking hate this. No, man, the people that like to skate around with Galaxy Opals on my team, or super hooked up players on my I was about to call it my park, the neighborhood, who like to run back and forth until they can get an open three-pointer, bro, they would hate this. Now, ultimately, a video game, players are gonna find a way to exploit it probably, but the movement was so crisp and so it looked a little, maybe it looks a little bit slow as you're actually watching it. But when you compare, again, I thought I was watching real basketball because a lot of the movements, a lot of the mannerisms of the players, it was that close. Now, again, is 2K21 going to deliver you that? Maybe not, but obviously, I think with the movement and the physics, even if it's a little bit exaggerated in that video of what you're going to get on this new version, that's obviously the direction they'll be trying to go. Because even as as we're starting to wind down this generation, I'm starting to see places where player movement can definitely be more realistic. In pacing and dribbling, there's a lot of things that can be far more realistic. There's a lot of things that are going to make 2K21 simply inferior on current gen, which is why I am so disappointed that they are not going to have the next gen version on PC. Yeah, if you've been keeping up with my content creation for like the last 4 months or so, you know that I mostly stream using a variety of PC mods. Stream My League. I'm about to stream Summer Circuit by the infamous NY. Shout out to him. Go check out his YouTube channel. He does amazing mods. And so I'll be doing that. I use graphic mods. I use all this stuff, right? And it blows what console does out of the water. Now, it still has some of the same problems. The characters routinely phase through each other. Some of the animations that you get. Obviously, some of the gameplay problems. And so 2K21 is going to drop, and excuse me, from what I've been, if you could tell, I've been doing my best not to pause during podcasts, because I fucking hate going back and editing this like it's a regular video and having to go back and cut up the audio. That's miserable. So trying to talk straight through, my body doesn't necessarily agree with me. Yeah, in NBA 2K21, what we're going to have is a situation where PC is going to be stuck with whatever PS4 gets, and so all this custom content that you guys, if you've been following me, that you see that I use custom Kobe face, custom courts, custom rosters, players that aren't actually in the game, all this beautiful custom content that these modders just spend so much time on, is only going to be for an inferior version. And even though we've had all these advancements and the version of 2K20 that I use right now looks beautiful, I am well prepared for even the modded version of 2K20 that I have right now to not hold a candlestick to what the PlayStation 5 does, especially if the physics and movement come anything like that was in that video that we saw with the simulation that I was just talking about, the little demo. If they're anything like that, there's just nothing modders will be capable of doing at that point. You know what I mean? If you're comparing the 2K21 release to what we had, what was that, back in the year 2013 when they were releasing PS4, what we got with 2K14 back then was essentially NBA 2K13. It was NBA 2K13 and a half. It was literally a patch. And people say that now, but they exaggerate a little bit. Like, if you put NBA 2K20 on the screen next to NBA 2K19, generally I can tell you which game is which. You put 2K20 next to 18, yada yada, I can generally tell you which game is which by looking at it, right? Because every game has its own look, even if it only changes a little bit. No exaggeration. NBA 2K13, you put that on the screen next to NBA 2K14, you will not be able to tell like 99% of the time. It's like all the assets are the same, the ball, the lighting. It's like they used the same exact base game and just went through and fixed a couple of things. And so when I was younger and I was playing NBA 2K14, yeah, a couple of the animations got smoother, a couple of the problems that I had in 2K13 weren't there, but ultimately it still felt lackluster because it felt like I was playing, it felt like I bought the same game, just that with problems that it shouldn't have had in the first place. And so that's exactly what I expect. I mean, we're in a different generation, different console. I don't know exactly what they've done with 2K21, but just right now, based off of that, I'm expecting 2K21 to literally be the 2K20 base game with some fixes. When you challenge a call, I mean, this happens on PC to me, I don't know if it happens to y'all on console, but when you challenge a call, I am expecting that it won't be stuck looking at my bench so that I can't even participate in the jump ball. I'm expecting that camera glitch that doesn't let you see the CPU inbounding or the opponent inbounding for a while, fixes like that. Maybe take some of the OP animations out. Like, there's this one layup animation where if you get the player behind you, your offensive player does like a double clutch layup animation that always goes in, and if you can get the animation, you can always get a layup. play up. So things like that, right? I think things like that might be fixed, but other than that, it'll be hard to tell which game you're playing. That's what I think. I don't think they spent any time graphically at all looking at 2K. Looking at 2K21 for the next gen, or for current gen, and the next gen is going to come and knock everybody's socks off. And when you think about it from a business standpoint, for whoever's running it, if you were running it, isn't that probably what you would do? Because you don't want you don't want anybody to, if you're the head of a business, you don't want anybody to look at your previous game on old hardware and say, oh, I can live with that. And the goal is to make people feel like they need something, and so it's really probably going to be that same thing. It's going to be, you're going to feel like, damn, bro, I just bought 2K20 again. Then you're going to look at your buddies on PS5 and you're going to be like, bro, I have to have it. You're going to be like the SpongeBob meme, the I need it meme. So that puts content creators in an interesting place, like myself. I've been so heavy into PC this year. Like, I just played Park with my I call it Park still, it's Neighborhood, whatever, you know what the fuck I mean, shut up. But I was playing Neighborhood with the homie last night, and I hadn't played with him since like September, and it feels like a totally different game, just all the way around than what I've been playing on PC. The responsiveness, everything. And again, obviously that's an online mode versus I've been playing my league, so it would be totally different. But when 2K21 comes out, it's like, okay, you know, modders are going to be able to make a little bit probably in that first 2 months, so I'll do a little bit, because nobody's going to be watching 2K20 content, even if it's modded. I don't think so. Maybe that's a miscalculation I'm making, but I don't think anybody's watching any 2K20 content once 21 drops, so I'll be forced to move on to 21 and unmodded 21 version for a little bit, get a couple of mods, and then PS5 will come out, and I guess I'll just, you know, I won't be running anything serious, more than likely, on the PC throughout the duration of 2K21. So maybe I'll have a couple of videos showing off mods for the current gen version, shit like that. But as far as doing like full my leagues on PC, that would be impossible to justify with what 2K on PS5 is probably going to be presenting. So that does hurt. That does hurt, because mods are so fun. It's just like I see so many modders getting hired by 2K now. They, shout out to Brown, if y'all are in my Twitch chat, y'all know him. He just got hired, and I'm fully cheering for him. But I'm like, damn, bro, the more modders that 2K hires, the less custom content the community gets. So, but yeah, fuck us, bro. Get the bag always, because modders, they should be getting paid for what they're doing anyway. So I fully support that. And yeah, we have no other news for 2K right now. All we've had is teasers, and I'm not going to be trying to decipher teasers right now and trying to find hidden messages and shit like that, bro. When we get a trailer, we'll talk about it. That's what we got for 2K21. As far as next gen goes overall, oh, should I do this now? Yeah, just talking a little bit about next gen, because we did get the PlayStation 5 reveal probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Again, for the most part, can't tell a whole lot from these trailers, because, well, some of them you can, like Ratchet and Clank. My goodness, I look, I'm gonna buy that game regardless. They could have just told me a Ratchet and Clank title was coming out, and I would have bought it anyways. I said, we stand Ratchet and Clank. That's the game that I basically started streaming with last year. That and Budokai 3. Yeah, new Ratchet and Clank coming out, Miles Morales, that looks sick. That's the Spider-Man game, which they had to clarify is its own standalone thing, so that will be coming out. There was a ton of games. I'm a little bit into Gran Turismo. I don't know how many people care about that, but I know there's like 4 or 5 launch titles that I'll be picking up for PS5 just day one. I am currently trying to figure out where I'm gonna put the bitch, because it's kind of big. Like the PS5, from what y'all remember the roast when it came out, people, if you know Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh, people replaced like his jacket with the PS5. That shit was hilarious. But I guess I'm just weird, bro. I guess I'm just weird. I kind of like the design. I think it looks nice. I like the white and blue. I don't like the cases. In the very off chance that ain't no damn Sony reps listening to this podcast, but in the very off chance anybody who has any pull hears this, change the case design. If you saw the PS5 cases, that's something I just saw a couple of days ago. They're now this blue case. It's literally the PS4 cases with a white strip on the top and PS5 and black writing. Why? It's ugly. No, okay, again, who cares about cases, right? A lot of y'all are like, oh, who buys CDs anyways? Look, bitch, I buy CDs, alright? Goddamn, it's not a hard concept to understand. I want to own my games. When I buy games digitally, first of all, shit ton of gigabytes that you need. That's the one thing. I'm gonna have the external hard drive anyways, but you need a ton of space. That's the first problem. Second problem, I always forget that I have certain games. When it's in my library and it just sits in my PS4 library, I'd be like, oh damn, yeah, I bought that game. game. I forgot. I'm from my old school, man. I like to have my cases. I like to have my CDs. I like collecting stuff. So that's for me. You do you if you want to be digital. I don't want to be digital. And being that that's a thing, bro, make the cases all white. Some artists did work on the PS5 cases and they turned them all white. They looked beautiful. It's such an easy creative decision. There's a white on blue thing with black writing. Bro, it's ugly. It's ugly. It's doing too much. Make it all white, please. For those of us that actually want to collect. Maybe they're trying to push us to digital. Maybe that's what they're doing. Corona has already kind of pushed me to digital because like I don't go and make the effort to buy games anymore, to the store to buy games anymore with all this going on. I actually bought The Last of Us 2 digitally, which is the first game I would say that's the first new major title that I've ever not owned physically. And I mean, again, I'm not against digital or anything. It was convenient. I had it download and, you know, right at night when it was time to play at midnight, I got to play. It was cool. I'm not gonna lie, very convenient. I want my case though. Do I move on to talking about that now, by the way? Yeah, because as far as next gen goes, we're kind of just in a waiting game now. I'm excited. You're excited. Avengers, that was the game. There we go. Avengers was the game I was trying to think of earlier when I was talking about the upgrade. So if I remember correctly, if you buy this Avengers game on PS4, you get the upgrade to PS5. By the way, that game I know some of my Twitch people were like, yo, you got to give that game a chance because they're standing it already. And when I looked at it, like the very first trailer I saw maybe some months ago, that did not look fun to me at all. It looked like the characters were using like the same attacks over and over again. I was like, God, this looks boring. But maybe it'll pique my interest on PS5. But it's one of those games that's coming out on PS4 first, so who knows if it's going to be that much better because PS5 version is probably just a remaster. Remasters. GTA 5 got remastered. GTA 5 got remastered, bro. It's gonna officially be on more PlayStation consoles than it's not. It's already on PS3 and PS4, so it's already half of them. Then it's gonna be on PS5 as well. Not coming out until 2021. Yeah, that was interesting and disappointing at the same time. Interesting because numbers don't lie. People love playing GTA 5. I get into modes where I play GTA 5, or I get moods where I play GTA 5 for a little bit with my brothers. Then I put it down for months and never touch it again. But I only play it if I have them to play with. So yeah, when they start school and stuff, I'll never touch it. Yeah, disappointing because this likely means that GTA 6 is way farther off than we originally thought. Interesting though, because I am kind of looking like, okay, so what can they do on this next gen console though? Because they were able to expand quite a bit on PS4 and have some fun things going on online. It's still entertaining. So yeah, I definitely wonder what is it going to look like. Is it even going to be, because see, I hail with games like that, with GTA and 2K, I hail from the world of PC. And on PC, like especially my brother, he is all into that stuff. And the graphic mods that he's done for GTA 5 are insanity. Like I think he's reached the peak of what that game can look like, right? In this lifetime, I think he has. And so I'm wondering, like, man, since I'm so used to GTA already looking a certain way on PC with those mods, when it drops on PS5, is it going to be anything that really wows me? Because the PC, it kills what we have on PS4. Of course, it was already killing what was on PS3, obviously. And so yeah, I wonder, but again, I only use GTA 5 for mods on PC. The online gameplay is always console, so maybe it will pique my interest. And honestly, that's all I really have to say about PS5 next gen right now. I mean, I like the controller as well, although it really just looks like it's like an Xbox format, SCUF format. It looks awesome, man. It looks awesome, and right now we got 4 months. I can't wait, bro. It's gonna be fun. I'm always interested. I'm glad that I'm a content creator at this time. It's really cool to be a content creator at a time where we're moving across generations, because again, the only content I was really doing was Instagram back when the PS4 came out. So now I have channels and I have Twitch, so I'll be streaming a variety of games on there, because I know people will be very interested to see what the next generation looks like. So it is a good time to be a content creator with some attention, man. It's gonna be fun. Moving straight into The Last of Us 2 to stay on topic with games. Man, I've had some killer transitions today, haven't I? I went from the NBA bubble straight into that went straight into 2K21, straight into next gen. The Last of Us, I haven't had to have any hard stops. So those hard stops from the NBA to like a completely different topic used to bother me. Maybe people will care about these other topics now. These smooth transitions, bringing my smooth ad transitions into the podcast. Okay, Last of Us 2. Oh man. Bro, people. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. Let me start by drinking some water. I'm sorry, drinking because I told y'all I'm not pausing. I'm sorry. Okay. So this game had it got leaked back in, I don't even remember. All the months run together in my head. Some of the plot got leaked. Everyone. My bad. Okay, if you haven't played The Last of Us, if you are still playing The Last of Us, you want to skip this part or you want to X out because I can't talk about this game without spoilers. I finished it, so if you don't want spoilers, leave now. This is your second chance to leave. Last warning. Okay, you're gone. All right. Everyone already knew that Joel died, so coming into it, I really do yearn for the universe where nobody knew that Joel died and we all found out. I wonder what the reaction would have been then, because everybody had a lot of time to be mad about it because they knew how it happened. They knew that it happened, and they knew how it happened. They knew who it happened by, the character Abby. People already didn't like her because of her appearance. Let's just be real, right? From the beginning, people were calling this game SJW trash. They call it, get woke, go broke, and all that. So immediately, without context, they saw Abby kill their beloved character, and boom, it was fucking off to the races just from that, right? And that was really the only spoiler that I had seen. I saw Joel laying there with his head half beat from a nice game of golf. I think I saw an image of her. Yeah. I saw an image of her when she beat up Ellie and when Dina at the inn was struck by the arrow as well. I saw those pictures. And so again, without any context, I low-key thought that Abby kills them both, to which then I could understand, like, oh, I see why people would be mad, because I thought it may be interesting. At first I was like, damn, what games out here make you kill beloved characters? Because that was the whole thing, right? They were like, oh, you're gonna control this character and she's gonna you're gonna use her to kill your favorite characters. Basically, that's kind of how I felt like it was characterized. That's at least how I understood it. That did not happen. And so the spoilers were what they were. I didn't look any further because I'm the type of person, I like to judge everything for myself. I like to experience things for myself. And so that's why, like, I'm watching My Hero Academia right now. I put that online. People are like, oh, mid-hero, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fam, I'm just going to watch the show and see if I like it first, okay? Then I'll come back. Because everyone, like, just has this obsession with, oh, just don't enjoy this media. You can't enjoy this. This is trash. That's trash. Well, let me find out it's trash, okay? Maybe I'll play this and I'll hate it. Maybe I'll watch this media and I'll hate it, but let me figure that out. And so that's exactly what I did with The Last of Us 2. Took me, what was that, around, I think I finished the game in probably like 24-25 hours. I have to look at my exact mark. I think I stopped looking at the counter after it was at 21. First of all, bro, the game is not as bad as people made it out to be. So if you haven't played Last of Us, or if you don't even care about Last of Us and you just heard the hate train, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It definitely has its problems. Oh god, does it have its problems? Absolutely. But it's not, look, I've played bad games before, man. I've played bad games before. I've put games into my place. Well, games that I perceive as bad, right? Because you might think the game is amazing. I might think it's bad. I've played games that I felt are bad before. I've been there and sitting like, yo, what are we doing here? When does this get exciting? Da da da. I've had that happen before. This is not one of those games. But okay, let me put this out here, because I can understand The Last of Us fans, the people who have been waiting 7 years, because I don't necessarily consider myself a Last of Us fan. My background was I watched Chris Move play it back in 2013. Not only did I not have any money back then because I was fresh out of high school, didn't have my own money. I also don't care about scary games at all. Like, I say Last of Us to me is not really a scary game except for some, minor pop scares, and it's still the scariest game I'm ever gonna play. Look, I always say that there's no scary movies left out there for me because I've seen everything. Nothing scares me anymore. Games are different though. When I have to sit there on the couch at night and I'm playing this shit, there's just something about that immersion. It's like, yeah, get this out of my face, bro. The Last of Us 2 is the scariest game. Yeah, that's the one I played. Scariest game I'm ever gonna play. Didn't consider myself a fan, but I sympathize with fans because they didn't get the story that they wanted, and that seems to be where a lot of the hate is placed. It has to be, because the game itself is still pretty fun. It has its moments where it's definitely dull, and I'll get to that, but the gameplay mechanics itself, the environments are beautiful. There's a lot about the game to admire. But let's talk about that story, okay? I can I feel your pain because I felt a similar pain with a series called Driver. And so if any of y'all know about Driver the Wheelman, that's a game that came out on PlayStation 1, and they had how many games? I think they had 4 or 5 games. Yeah, Driver 1, Driver 2, Driver 3, Driver Parallel Lines, Driver San Francisco. Then they had a couple of bullshit spin-offs on like handhelds and stuff like that. But okay, let me explain it this way. So using Driver, I played the ones when I was a kid. I played Driver 1 and 2 when I was a kid. Driver 3 comes out, and that was the first one for PlayStation 2. So the graphics were totally different, and gameplay was different. They had story cinematics and all that, and I fell in love with that game, man. This is around the year 2005. That game was like the light of my life, because the sequence for its time, the cinematic sequences, they were to die for. And so the character, for some reason, again, people look at those characters and they say they're kind of dual. Tanner and Jericho say that they're kind of dual characters, but I love them. I love their rivalry. I love their story, and they were awesome characters to me. Now, what ends up happening is the Driver 3 ends off on a cliffhanger, a very interesting cliffhanger. Nobody actually wins between Tanner and Jericho. You don't actually know what happens between them. Driver Parallel Lines comes, so that was in 05. Driver Parallel Lines, when did I get that? What grade was I in? I was in the 6th grade. Okay, so it might have been 04 when Driver 3 came out. So yeah, I was in the 6th grade. I get Driver Parallel Lines a couple of years later, and they're totally different characters. There's no Tanner, there's no Jericho. It's a totally different game. It's a totally different story and everything, right? It was basically just a game with the Driver name, so that has nothing to do with anything. But then, in 2011, after I've waited a good 5 or 6 years, right? Long years for this sequel to come out. Finally, they're introducing Jericho and Tanner and leaving and picking up where they left off in Driver 3. Finally get this story, right? Oh, I can't wait, bro. I'm so happy when the first time I seen the commercial and I see Tanner chasing him, I'm like, this is gonna be dope. I'm gonna get the answers to the story that I wanted, all that shit, right? Driver San Francisco comes out, and it's been a while. Back then, that was probably a really long time for a game. Now it's like you understood Last of Us taking 7 years to come out, but when I was younger, that seemed like a really long time for a sequel, because it seemed like sequels were a little bit easier to pop out back then. Yeah, San Francisco comes out. The story has nothing to do. It's nothing that the fans wanted. Let's put it that way, right? It has nothing to do with what the fans wanted it to do with. Tanner and Jericho are two completely different characters. Tanner, like, he went from this quiet, cool, and calm, collected cop to a fucking buffoon. I can't. If you're interested in this for some reason, look up Driver 3 Tanner and then look up Driver San Francisco Tanner. You'll see what I mean. It's literally like two different actors with two different interpretations of a character. Nothing to do with anything. Same thing for Jericho, except it's still the same storyline from Driver 3. And so it's not like they rebooted it. It's picking up where the other one left off, but goofy as fuck. The story ended, it was way less intense. The story was not satisfying at all. It didn't end where I wanted it, but the gameplay was amazing. And because most people, it seemed like, that picked up Driver San Francisco did not play Driver 3, because again, Driver 3 was a PS2 title that was dropped back in 04 or 05. So by the time you're talking about 2011, you're talking about PS3, plenty of other games that come out, people have gotten invested in other characters. Driver San Francisco brought in a lot of new fans. As a matter of fact, there's a video on Driver San Francisco, and a lot of people are like, yeah, I just picked this up one day. And so the game, especially for the PS3's hardware, it's amazing. It still looks amazing today. And because that game was so fun, which is what a game is supposed to be, all the new fans who hadn't really played Driver, they loved it. They loved this game. They loved everything about it. It's one of their favorites. But the people like me, I'm still hurt, bro. I'm still hurt. I'm still mad. I am furious. My brother was just playing Driver San Francisco last night, and I still get pissed off when the game starts and Tanner is just this fucking clumsy ass new character, new happy-go-lucky character. Still makes me mad, right? But I can admit San Francisco is fun, and so it's not a bad game. But oh god, the story. If this was a bigger franchise with more chips at stake, they could not have gotten away with this. Anyways, long story short, to tie that into The Last of Us, I can understand y'all pain, because I didn't play Last of Us 1. I understood the story and all that, but I wasn't really, like, you know, enamored with it like a lot of people were. And so me jumping into The Last of Us 2, I'm like those Driver San Francisco fans. I've just jumped in, I'm playing this game for the first time. I know about it, but I'm just playing it for the first time, so I'm actually immersing in this game for the first time. And so all the stuff that's like old to y'all and the mechanics that are old to y'all and stuff, they're cool to me. Even though I did realize they did the bare minimum to really upgrade the gameplay, it's still really cool to me. I enjoy the graphics, I enjoy the mechanics, I enjoy the shooting and all of that, and killing the zombies and whatnot. So to me, the game was fun. And because I didn't become so enamored with the story of number one, the story, it obviously has its issues, but it was still interesting to me. It kept me compelled. You don't understand what it takes for me to actually finish a game. Maybe I should have started with that. I should have led with that. For me to finish a game, I have to be actually like, I have to be invested in that, right? Like right now I'm picking up Persona, I'm curious, so it's drawing me in, I'll probably end up finishing it. But if a game and I pick it up and it's like, okay, I'll get back to this, it could be like 4, 5, 6 months before I ever touch it again. I promise you, I will throw that shit to the back and never touch it again. And so I finished Last of Us in like what, 2 weeks probably. For me and all the other stuff that I do in life, that's record time, man. That's record time, because I kept wanting to see what happened next. At certain points I realized that the story was not unfolding like I thought it was. So and it's unpopular, bro, but I like The Last of Us 2. Am I ever gonna play it again? No, I'm never gonna play it again, because some of the, well, first of all, some of the problems in this game, like some of the parts that just drug on way too long, I was getting mad with that. Some of the gameplay started to feel very redundant. Some of the stories started to seem very drug out. Like I was getting mad at the detours, man. I was getting mad as hell at the detours when you were just about to get to your destination and then you like fall 40 feet and now you gotta take like an entire scenic route that's filled with a million zombies. Like I'll tell you specifically the part that I hated that felt just so damn unnecessary. When you were trying to get the medicine, when you were playing as Abby and trying to get the medicine, detour number 1 takes you to this hotel and you're in there for like an hour. You have to fight your way out of the hotel for like a damn hour. You get out of there directly into another detour because you find out that all the medicine is packed away at the bottom of the hospital, and there's like a big boss down there. So that just felt like that felt like fat to me, man. That felt like fat on the game. I'm like, bro, at a certain point I felt like I had earned what we were trying to earn, and it was like, you're doing this to draw your game out. Every game does not have to be a fucking novel, bro. Every game does not have to take so much time out of my life for me to enjoy it. It doesn't. The game don't have to be this long. You can tell your story, you can show off some of your mechanics, and we can be done, man. The game does not have to be long to be good. Anyways, yeah, you're not gonna get like a super full analysis of every detail of The Last of Us 2 for me. I'm not gonna do a deep dive into, oh, should this character have been this or that, bro. You're not getting all that from me. There's plenty of people that have done that. There's hour-long reviews on this game. I would just say, if you're at least curious, in any media really, play it for yourself. In any media, watch it for yourself. I'm glad that I do that, because I did, at the end of the day, I still enjoyed the game. I agree with Cosmonaut Variety Hour that people are mad at the game for the wrong reasons, because there are gripes to have with the story, there are gripes to have with this, that, or the other thing, but the things that people are mad at are the stupid reasons. They're stupid reasons to be mad, when there's better reasons to be mad, you know. I understood what he meant by that. But hey, as far as a game being fun, I feel like for the most part it accomplished that. It was not perfect, because again, there was a lot of excess on there that I felt like didn't need to be there. So it accomplished its goal of being fun, but there were some times where I'm like, bro, can this shit please end already? I definitely had mixed feelings going through it. But I'm glad that I played it. I don't feel like I wasted my time, and I don't waste my time with games, because if there's a game that I feel like is wasting my time, I don't finish it. I'm not a video game YouTuber. At one point I thought that transition might happen, and I'm not. So I'm not beholden to finish games just so I can review them. If that shit is whack, it's going to the back. That's it. That is it, man. So yeah, and obviously the way it ended, I'm now very curious if there's going to be a Last of Us 3. To be honest with you, if there was, even though I enjoyed Last of Us 2, I feel like I've gotten everything out of it that I care about now. From watching Last of Us 1 and liking that story, to playing this game and liking it. If there was a 3 now that had something to do with Abby and Ellie, I don't think I'm interested enough to actually invest time in playing it. I'd like to know what happened, but I don't think I can do another 30 hours of, you know, sneaking up on clickers and tearing their throats out or whatever, or getting my throat torn out when one of those bastards bum rushes me. No, yeah, who knows what's gonna happen with that. It's gonna drop on PS5. It'll be remastered. I guess that's the version that they'll have online, because we know a remaster's coming. They were gonna have an online mode, you remember. Then they said, nah, we can't do that because we're trying to make a single player mode, and now we're left with what we have, a single player experience that many people are unsatisfied with. But yeah, when I saw that user score of like 3, like I guess like a 3 out of 10, like come on, bro. Do I have I don't have my soundboard hooked up to the podcast where I could play sound effects. I'll play Lil Boozies. Come on now, dog. Like, it's not no damn 3, fam. That is not a 3. Anyways, I believe I am off The Last of Us now. Because we are living a very, very, very mild version of The Last of Us out here. I'm curious about what is going to happen with y'all in school next month. I'm not in school anymore, thank the heavens above. I did my time. I did my bid all the way through. But yeah, I'm curious, especially in places like Florida where we're getting worse. That's why I was so interested in reading what my alma mater sent me in terms of how they're starting school back up, because I still do have brothers. I have one that's starting college and I have another that is in middle school, and so I wanted to read and get an idea of what schools might be thinking, because I asked Twitter, and every time I ask Twitter they say the same thing. Oh, half of us are going to be online, half of us are going, and then maybe they'll rotate and stuff like that. So I just wanted to see what my school was thinking about doing and how y'all might handle it. And yeah, I am. After I read that, I was wondering to myself, like, man, if I was in college, would I go? Because they did give the option. They fully acknowledge that they don't have the ability to, assure anybody's safety. They're just doing everything they can. And so at the end of the day, they said, like, if you want to come to campus, you can, but if you want to do full online, you do you. And if that was me, I would do online right now. I would do online, because just based off of what I read, I don't understand how I guess I don't understand the act of shuffling everybody back into school during a pandemic that's getting worse. I don't get that part yet. That's why I'm fascinated by it. But I think my brother, who's in middle school, I'm pretty sure he's going to be doing virtual school, because I saw a tweet. They were like, you don't think these little badass kids are going to be out here coughing on each other? Like, these kids are some of these kids are bad on a regular day, bro. During a pandemic, you don't think it's going to be worse? Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's so many different routes you could go with that. I guess I don't have much to say here except that I'm fascinated by it, because school is literally the epitome. It's the peak of social activity. And so now you're saying, okay, we might cut the number of people that go, but we're still going to have people go. But some teachers aren't going to teach because they might have underlying conditions, and so they'll do it virtually. At least that's how my old school is doing it. But K through 12, I'm wondering about that. Like, how does that work? Some kids have underlying conditions. My brother that's now in college, growing up, he grew up with asthma, so he wouldn't be able to go regardless right now. And there's going to be a lot of students like that. Hey man, it's hey man, I'm watching from the sidelines because I'm graduated now. Keeping me and mine safe. I don't think any of my brothers are actually going. They'll be doing virtual for a while, and I think it's gonna go like that too. Because I don't know where y'all live, but in Florida right now we are more driven off of emotion than anything in terms of leadership. So buddy's just like, yeah, everybody's going back to school, but we're like, how? And you're like, don't worry about it, everybody going back to school. y'all go to Walmart and Home Depot, so y'all going back to school. So hey man, it's a bold strategy. Let's see how it works out. Florida. For me in my life and content creation, basically, like it took the NBA away abruptly for a few months. So barbershop talks, podcasts, a lot of that stuff changed. I really became more of a streamer than anything. I consider myself, I said it at the beginning, I consider myself like 50% streamer, 50% YouTuber these days. That's one of the reasons it's so hard to generate podcasts, and that's one of the reasons, like I said at the beginning, I had been getting to that mode where, like, fam, I'm just gonna do what I want and talk about whatever I want anyways, and whoever's gonna listen is gonna listen, whoever isn't. So the podcast didn't all the way go away just because there was no NBA. But another part of it was like, yeah, once the NBA went away, it was like, okay, now this is the perfect time to start streaming more, and streaming has actually become viable. And so with that, that's obviously I wouldn't call it the most rigorous form of content creation, but it's extremely time consuming, especially the way I do it. You can easily eat up 5 or 6 hours just sitting there streaming. Not everybody, some people are only like 2 hours, but when I'm doing like simulations and stuff on 2K, yeah, that can pretty much eat the whole day. And then after you're done with that, your energy for content creation that day might, be cooked. Like, you still got videos to make, and then you got a podcast that, people are wondering where it's at. But yeah, with the NBA coming back, like I said, that's going to get a whole lot more interesting because I've had pretty much free reign and free schedule to stream, and now I guess I won't. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining because the NBA can only give us more content. And yeah, let's hope it stays safe. I'm an hour and 17. To be honest, I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut it here. I thought I had more to say in this this life in Corona part. Thought I had more to say about the school and shit like that, but to be honest, what can you really say? Because as my school said in their little pamphlet they send, everything is fluid. Who knows in a month or two y'all might not even actually be talking about going to school, or maybe you'll be full-fledged into it. This is just a thing where everything related to Corona, you just have to wait and see how it works. Like, we just opened Disney today. Disney just opened back up in Florida, and so people are going to be riding like the Tower of Terror with masks on, so that's interesting. And I think that'll be it for today's episode of the DomCast. Like I said, I will be doing this tentatively 2 times a week. I will be hopping on here. It'll be a lot easier with the NBA because I can just lead with that, and if there's any other extra topics that I want to talk about, then I will after that. But you know, in the worst case scenario that the NBA for some reason just got canceled and didn't come back at all, yeah, I'm still podcasting, bro. I'll figure it out, and I'll keep talking about different topics because podcasts, it is a good cleanse every now and then. It is a good cleanse once or twice a week, and sometimes you just need, there's a bunch of topics out there sometimes you want people to talk to them about, and obviously with social distancing that's not as easy anymore, right? I don't know, man. This has been the DomCast. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed. When I do start doing questionnaires again, I'll probably do them on Twitter and Instagram. I don't think I'll be using the Instagram responses much anymore. I'll probably put some Twitter open threads. NBA questions are always welcome, but just stop. I'm not gonna answer if LeBron is the GOAT anymore. I'm not talking about that anymore. Not talking about shit I've spent 4 years talking about. I'm just not. I'm not gonna do it, bro. I'm not gonna do it. I have taken every conceivable angle I could about the same subject. You will not relegate me to Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless deadass had a tweet the other day. LeBron could be. What was the topic? Oh, this is why LeBron couldn't beat Muhammad Ali in a fight or some shit. I was like, oh my gosh, bro, take me away. Take me away. Yeah, I'm out of here. Hit the bell next to the channel name if you want notifications every time a podcast drops, and I will see y'all on the next episode.